Errol the Truth Spence admits he made the Shawn Porter fight harder than it needed to be by weighing in about 190 pounds right before the fight, and he had to drop all that weight. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego Unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Now sign up for Patreon. I keep telling you guys, I got some stuff planned. We're gonna get it lit. Just everything Death Row East. Do you believe in God? Then believe in Death Row East. This is a personification of everything I did on the West, Death Row East, and we're moving it over to Patreon. A lot of stuff coming. Patreon, it'll, click the link and it'll tell you the different tier systems. And also YouTube channel members is going to be content aimed for them particularly. So join those two families, Extended Ego Army family. Also, another great way to help the channel is click the link and there's an ESPN link. Get the ESPN Plus bundle. That includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three apps, one price, $12.99 a month. Great content, frequently updated. Obviously, they're not updating live events because we're in a pandemic, but there's still a ton of content to help you get through this time since a lot of us are, trapped at home and quarantined and, isolated from the rest of the world. So catch up on some content. Click that link. It helps you, it helps me. Holla at that link. Now, Errol Spence, he was on Showtime show. It was a podcast, All the Smoke, with basketball players Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson. Very good stuff, might I add. I just did a video about it where Errol Spence says he currently is not permitted to spar because his doctor, said it would, you can't spar right now. They put posts in his mouth. He lost some teeth in his accident, so it wasn't, advisable to spar until he gets his permanent teeth in, right? He has some, temporary veneers or whatever the situation is. And I made a video about that, so check that on the channel. Another thing he talked about is he reiterated what he said to the PBC podcast about ballooning up in weight, gaining more weight and learning from it. And, it was really like an intimate interview. You could tell it wasn't like Errol Spence he was with other professional athletes, ballers and basketball players and stuff. So it seemed like he opened up a little bit more, like he felt that these NBA basketball players could probably understand his struggle. So he was very candid on this. And I like that about this interview is because it made it more acquaintant, kind of intimate. Some things that he probably wouldn't have just said to anybody in their interview, But during this podcast, he was, pretty forthcoming. And he said that he made the Shawn Porter fight tougher than it needed to be. Now, he's talking about kind of before the fight, but I also, it's funny how what I say on my channel comes true. He's admitting that he made the Shawn Porter fight tougher than what it needed to be. Literally what I said, I covered that fight. I was there, and I told you that he made the fight harder than it needed to be, and now he's pretty much admitting it, And you frequently see stuff that I say, and the Ego's Army says, new media, this whole movement, this whole digital mob. You see stuff that is said, and then you hear it corroborated by pro trainers, former champions, current champions, trainers, people actually who get paid in this industry. So it's kind of cool. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Now, this is what Errol Spence says, and I'm going to give you the verbatim quote. On this Showtime podcast, All the Smoke, Spence says, the Shawn Porter, it was a great fight. I think I made it a lot harder than it was supposed to be because, just the weight drop. I came down from, I think, about 189 pounds, to 147. So in a matter of probably 9 weeks, so the whole training camp, I was running 2 times a day, hitting the bag in a sauna suit, just training in sauna suits and just depleting myself, losing the weight. And, it made it a lot harder than it was supposed to be. I could have made it a lot easier. It was a great fight. We both showed a lot of heart and determination. He says in order to lose that type of weight in a span of 9 weeks, you basically, this is a quote, you basically have to cut everything. Your water intake, your food intake. You're running twice daily. Like I was running twice a day in a sauna suit and a sauna suit on my legs, sauna suit up top, just working out in a sauna suit. I'm not drinking much water. I'm probably drinking, I would say probably 26 ounces a day, if that. I'm eating probably twice a day. I'm doing all that just to drop weight so I can win. But it takes a lot. It's a lot of hard work, but I'm always in shape. So, I don't think that played a big difference in the fight because I'm always in shape. But if I would have been more disciplined and would have cut it a lot earlier, it would have been way easier fight than what it was, end quote. So it was a classic fight. I was so happy that I went and covered that fight because I really enjoyed myself. The fight week, the PBC on Fox, they did a great job. They had us in a real nice hotel. Shannon Briggs was at the final press conference. Errol Spence had some quotables. He said, "You fight like you drowning. You fight like you can't swim. Man down," And he had some classic. Then Shawn Porter, you could tell he was getting agitated, and Kenny Porter, man, it was crazy. I had a great time for that fight. I disagree with Errol when he's saying I don't think it played that much of a part because I was in shape. I disagree with that full-fledged and wholeheartedly. I think anytime you have to lose a mass amount of weight in a small space of time, then it definitely is going to affect you somehow, some way, because you have to understand what boxers do. That's not what you would call natural. A boxer losing so much weight in really what would be considered a short period of time, right? That's not to make weight and then have to perform at a high intensity sport where someone's trying to hurt you. I mean, come on. Like, of course it's going to play. If he was 190, as he says, it doesn't matter if you're 190 in shape, like muscular, and you don't have a beer belly, you're still losing mass amount of weight. 190 minus 147, that's like 43 pounds. That's several weight classes. You see what I'm saying? So you're losing 42, 43 pounds. Then you have a person who's relentless like Shawn Porter, who I could vouch for because I've spent time with them. I've been on the UNLV track with Shawn Porter while he was training for fights and stuff like that. He gets down, and I know he doesn't get that big, in his off season. I don't know exactly what he's weighing, but he definitely keeps his weight in check. And you have a relentless, mauler style like Shawn Porter, heart, chin, power, relentless, rugged, felt offended, like all the disses that Errol Spence was saying. Says you an in shape. What did he say? You an in shape street fighter. You an in shape street fighter. That was kind of funny, but still, you see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Errol Spence did himself a disservice. So he's kind of, in my opinion, in this interview, he's kind of admitting, but then not fully admitting. He's kind of, playing both sides here and on the fence about it, because he's saying if I had been more disciplined, the fight could have been X, Y, and Z, and it would have played out different had I disciplined and, started cutting the weight a little bit earlier. He says, listen, but I think if I would have been disciplined and would have cut it a lot earlier, it would have been a way easier fight than what it was. But then at the same token, in that same breath of air, he said, I don't think that played a big difference in the fight because I'm always in shape. So you kind of hedge your bet a little bit with that, but at the end of the day, it's a podcast. So, it's not scripted. You're thinking and trying to be on the fly, it is what it is. But I definitely think it plays a part when you lose 42, 43 pounds before a fight in 9 weeks. That's like, boxers is crazy. That's like ungodly for that size. Like my girl, like back in the day, my ex, we used to live together, and she used to like that show that came out back in the day, The Biggest Loser, right? Or the weight loss challenge thing. And people like that are like morbidly obese, they could lose 43 pounds in a short space of time, or a day, or a couple of days, a week, or whatever, working out, because they're going from this gluttonous lifestyle, eating 2 large pizzas and 2-liter sodas, you know, in a day, daily and stuff like that, to working out for the first time in God knows how long. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little bit different. But if you're the stature and the size of an Errol Spence, it's kind of like per capita. It's like you look at places like Richmond, California, Oakland, San Francisco, right? You look at the rough areas, Stockton, you look at Chicago, you look at Philly, you look at what's called per capita. The reason why these are considered some of the most dangerous cities is per capita, based on the size of that city or that place. Their murder rate, you know, in Florida or wherever, you know, is quite excessive, given the amount of people that the actual population. You see what I'm saying? So you got to look at that kind of per capita system when it comes to Errol Spence. You're this height, this size, making this weight, and to lose 43 pounds in 9 weeks, that's pretty up there. But I do appreciate Errol Spence, what he's done and what he's continuing to do with his career, you know, so I'm not trying to like rag on him or whatever. And I appreciate him for being candid. I think Errol Spence, you know, he's learning on the job. You're not born, well, not everybody, but most fighters aren't born into the fame unless your dad was a fighter or something like that. You know, you got to earn your stripes. So a lot of these guys, they got to figure it out as they go. You have to think about, you know, everything in front of you, and all of a sudden you have all this money, all these women, all these cars, whatever. People offering you drugs, whatever. People, you know, want to drink and go to strip clubs, different things like that. And the dangerous thing about a fighter is this: when you're popping, there's nothing more, I would say, masculine for a man than being able to use your hands in general. And if you could use your hands and you the baddest man on the planet, or you could scrap, then that's even an added bonus. You know what I'm saying? Like, what woman wouldn't want to do that could take care of himself, you know, that could scrap? So when you're heavyweight champion or welterweight champion, you're a champion. And when you're known for whooping ass and taking names, then a lot's going to come with that. You know, a lot of people are going to want to be around that energy, because it's like, man, I mean, who wouldn't want to roll with Mike Tyson and be in Las Vegas after he knocks somebody out and go to his after party, you know, in his prime and stuff? It's just, you want to be around that energy. And I get that. But what's dangerous for fighters, as I was mentioning, is this: the lifestyle that, and some of the temptations that come with that. You're not a rapper, you know what I'm saying? You're not just like a Billboard artist or YouTuber or something like that. You're in hand-to-hand combat, which is exceptionally dangerous. Some people have permanent pallets in their mouth, slurs, and punch drunk. Some people have lost their life. Rest in peace to the people who have lost their life. Other people have like garnered health issues based on being a fighter. Freddie Roach, I would say Roger Mayweather, Muhammad Ali. It gave catches to shakes, like Jay said, you know. So it's a brutal sport, and it's a dangerous sport. So you got to always be conscious of that, because if you're friends with a rapper or whatever, they could go out and drink and you know, drink a fifth, party, throw up, stuff like that. But you damaging your career potentially if you indulge and overindulge in the type of stuff. And then, you know, with Errol, his situation with the car, you know, that could have went way left, you know, and we'll leave it at that. So it's all part of the game. You get all this stuff. And he even admits on this podcast, he said, I was feeling myself. You know, I just beat Shawn Porter in Unification. Everybody's giving him props. It was a great fight, you know, so it probably boosted his ego even more, and, you know, no pun intended, stuff like that. And the rest is history. But the first step is to addiction is admitting that you have an addiction. I'm not saying Errol has an addiction, but I think it's the same line. The first step is just basically admitting you have a problem. So if he knew that he got ahead of himself and he was taking things for granted, living a little bit too on the edge, a little bit too reckless, and, you know, not living the fighter life, maybe this was just the wake-up call that he needed to get his ducks in a row and, you know, handle it. So I respect his honesty. He seemed very sincere, but yeah, definitely losing that type of weight in that span of time, bad. You know, it's just overall not good. And see, the thing is, he's either 30 or entering his 30s, you know, somewhere late 20s, early 30s. That's when it gets worse. You know, the stuff that your early 20s you get away with, you can't get away with in your early 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like, your body starts to change, your metabolism slows, your body is receptive to different things. You eat certain things and it weighs on you a little bit different. Like, when I was 19, I used to eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, whatever time of the day, anything, and it had no effect on me. You know, my metabolism was so quick and so fast, it didn't matter what I ate, and, you know, I wouldn't have, you know, pimples or anything. I wouldn't feel heavy, or I don't know. It was just a machine or something. But as you get older, you start seeing your body will not accept that. Like, your stomach might hurt, or, you know, you pick up pounds and weigh different and stuff, all these types of things. So Errol Spence, you know, he's about that age where things slow down for you. You got to take it discipline, you know, and this is why these admissions from Errol Spence is basically one of the reasons why I told you he just said recently he would beat Floyd Mayweather, and I'm not picking him against Floyd or any of these new cats in general, because I think Floyd's from a different class. Like, he's a throwback fighter, keeps his weight in check, he never derives from the game plan, he's super disciplined and things like that. So he basically, Floyd's just too experienced and he makes the right decisions. Some of these other guys are just now getting what Floyd been had. So, and Floyd, for whatever reason, you know, freakish reason, he stayed and remained disciplined. Even Conor McGregor, he started blowing up and like cutting 27 pounds on fight week, and, you know, just crazy stuff like that. And that stuff becomes harder and harder to justify when you're fighting elite level people, because, you know, I don't know everybody's business, but Shawn Porter, I know I've spent some time with him, you know, with the Porters and whatever. And I don't even know if he drinks or anything, you know. I never seen him, you know, I'll just put it that way. From my personal experience with Porters and with the Porters, I don't think he overindulges from what I've seen. You know what I'm saying? That's just my personal experience. So I don't know what he does in his, you know, spare time, but he keeps that's why, you know, the fight, another reason why the fight was harder. Other reason why I think the fight was harder, aside from the weight stuff that Errol Spence admits, is because at the end of the day, Shawn Porter has a certain style. You offended him saying he can't fight and the in-shape street fighter and all this. And then at the end of the day, he felt slighted, and you ballooned up in weight, had to cut a lot of weight, and you fought his fight because you had to live by the words you said before the fight, which made for a climactic, very combustible fight. So this is what I love about boxing. You know, Errol, I think he can definitely learn from all of his recent experiences, because he had a peak and then he had a valley right after, and that's usually how it happens. Some of my worst times in life, you know, were followed by some of my best times in life. You know, like right before my channel blew up was one of the worst times of my adult life, you know, in terms of where I was at, how I was feeling, stuff like that. You know, we'll leave it at that. And, you know, you just have to learn from it. So Errol Spence is on the right track to learn from it by just, you know, acknowledging that there was a discrepancy or something you needed to work on and really getting it together. You know, so I look to see Errol Spence, you know, in his second chance at life, so to speak, just be a little bit sharper, make a little bit wiser decisions with, you know, really with his weight and stuff like that. Even how he fought Shawn Porter, he showed, like, to me, if you really think about it, and I loved his performance versus Mikey Garcia, because I think he did that to spite people. But in my honest opinion, and if you ever hear anyone repeat this, you know where they got it from. you know, new media, digital mob. From a coaching perspective, if I were coaching Errol, I would have liked to see Errol Spence trade his performances, his Mikey Garcia performance, so the style in which he fought, how he looked, and his game plan, and swap that for the Shawn Porter fight, and then the Shawn Porter performance and game plan and strategy and execution, put that with the Mikey Garcia fight. You see what I'm saying? I think you could, they're all in 1 year, and it's great that he showed different wrinkles, that he could do different things, but I think you should Freaky Friday and flip-flop those. I think how he fought Shawn Porter, he should have fought Mikey Garcia. He would have stopped Mikey Garcia, you know, but he was trying to prove points, and you know, you got to be wise about that, because sometimes it works, sometimes the fight becomes harder, sometimes you could even lose. You see what I'm saying? Just like Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford fought Mean Machine, and he was stubborn in them early rounds trying to prove a point, because he got hurt and he really got dropped, but they didn't count it as a knockdown. And he was trying to prove a point, like, oh, you ain't gonna just bully me and, you know, make me switch out of this southpaw stance. But, you know, you got to be smart. That's why I wouldn't pick these guys to beat Floyd Mayweather, because I don't think that's you just got to be smart and do what makes sense. Like with Mayweather, he's been hurt. You know, DeMarcus Corley, he got hurt maybe to some degree versus Cotto, not really, but Pacquiao hurt him. Obviously Shane Mosley, stuff like that. And you know, he fights smart, and that's what fighters need to do. These younger fighters fight smart, both in the ring and out the ring. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. You know, we had to go in and talk about some different things, but shout out to Errol Spence. Look for him to bounce back. I think he's owed whatever he wants next. If he wants a big fight, so be it. You know, that's his decision. If he wants a tune-up, you know, so be it. But check my last video about Errol Spence. He said he can't spar at the moment, waiting for his permanent teeth. Let me know what you guys think of this, kind of ballooning up and waiting, admitting his wrongs and saying he made the Porter fight harder than it needed to be. Drop all your thoughts in the comment section. Leave me some good comments so I can read. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos, Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.